What's up, everyone? I'm Justin Worthen, and I am currently an account executive in tech sales with Intuit. I wanted to make a video on the 10 things that I do to be a quota crushing machine. My very first day of work in tech sales, period, was on January 9th, 2023. And today, while recording this video, it is August 26th. 2023. I began my career as a lead development representative with Intuit, and I was promoted to account executive roughly about 4 months from my start date. And listen, I am not a guru. I just want to tell you what has worked and what is currently working for me. My wife and I began this channel literally before either one of us had a job in tech, y'all. And so there are literally people, shout out to you, who have been tuned in since the very beginning of seeing us embark on this journey into a career in tech, landing the job, and now me becoming an account executive. And I made a video a couple of months ago about me missing quota, which I was very disappointed in myself in. And come to find out, I actually kind of met company expectations that month. I just later realized it. I only had to hit like 90% quota. But anyway, I actually officially missed quota for the first time in the month of July. And I fell like literally in the 80 percentile of quota. And that was pretty devastating for me, right? It did not feel good. But currently, there are 4 working days in the month of August left. And I have technically surpassed 110% of quota. And our quota this month is actually higher than it was for the month of July. So this is very, very, very exciting for me. And I count this as a win for the community and for you, the viewer, because it gives me something valuable to discuss with you. Whether you're currently an SDR, BDR, LDR, account executive, or you are on your way into a career in tech sales, I do believe that this video contains a lot of value for you for now and also for the months to come. So be sure to remain until the end, because you never know which of the 10 things that I'm going to mention are really going to stick out to you and be ingrained in your psyche as you move forward in your tech sales career. So the first thing about me is I have a mild obsession with my job. And listen, y'all, I believe that having a mild obsession with something that is beneficial to you is okay. And meaning whether it is you planning on starting a business, it's a career that you're looking to really advance in, or it's just some type of instrument for you to provide for your family. I do believe that it does take a level of a mild obsession to really be good at something. So what does the mild obsession for me means? Well, it means that I don't mind going the extra mile at times for my job. You know, I take me not performing better than average very seriously. This mild obsession, sometimes it does trigger me to invest extra time into learning over the weekend or after work, which is perfectly okay if you can do something that your competitor is not doing when it comes to you becoming better at your job. Number 2, if you are in or plan on entering into tech sales, I recommend that you read Spin Selling. This is a dynamic read. Listen, I was introduced to this when I went through the tech sales course of Course Careers. And to this day, this is the book that I pick up and that I read, okay? I read this throughout the week. It really teaches and it shows you how to unpack value in a conversation with someone. It shows you how to allow the conversation to point to what is in it for the customer, what is in it for the prospect. How will what you have to offer benefit them? And this book is all about basically teaching you how to navigate this process of taking the attention off of you, off of what you offer, to solely on what is the need of the prospect and how to uncover that need. And this book, it was helpful for me even when I was a lead development representative, literally having 3 minute, 5 minute, 7 minute conversations with people just to look to book appointments for account executives. This book helped me in an extremely positive way. And it now obviously helps me now that I'm having 30 and 40-minute conversations or consultations with people as an account executive. The third thing is premeditated integrity. Okay. Premeditated integrity. What do I mean by that? Well, you see, selling is something that can bring out sometimes the best and the worst in a person. I truly believe that. And it's because of the income potential that is there, right? The better you are at your job, the more money that you can make. And so for me, I look to have a premeditated mindset and thought process of integrity and of really looking to do what is in my power and my strength to actually have the customers interests in mind. And so when I'm going into a conversation with customers, I do believe that that comes across. I believe that it comes across that I have a level of integrity that is there that really does have their best interests. And by default, I do believe that that opens up more opportunities for me to, in return, sell my services to the prospect. Number four, an interesting thing: embrace your ignorance. So, what do I mean by that, right? You don't know everything. You're not going to know everything. Listen, if you're going into tech sales, there is a lot of things that you're going to have to learn. You're going to have to learn the process of how to do things. You're going to have to learn, if you're already in tech sales, you can attest to this. You have to understand your service, your product, right? You have to understand how to sell, actual methodologies of selling. You're not going to know everything. So when you're in a conversation with a prospect, don't get so stuck in your head of thinking that, well, if it's not really of value to me per se, and if I can't really figure out, why I would use it, then I'm kind of going to stay clear of really going down certain trails with customers. And listen, you're not going to know everything. That's why being able to stick to the training that you go through from your job, from your management, being able to understand the product and who your product serves. The product that you sell may not serve you. And so not getting so caught up in your lack of being able to fully grasp, why a person would absolutely, or why you personally would absolutely use or purchase this product is not a reason that you should be derailed when you're in that conversation or that dialogue with the customer, because that customer could be, or that prospect could really be ideal in terms of fitting, needing the service or the product that you offer. And so it's okay to just embrace the ignorance that you have that's present, with really understanding the more of the fullness of how your product can benefit the person in front of you. You will grow in knowledge over time. Just trust the process, trust what you're being taught and being trained, and how you're being trained to sell, and then just roll with that as you have your prospects' best interest in mind. And the fifth thing is very important: having evolving business acumen. Are people really landing jobs like that in tech sales after going through course careers? Well, quite a few. But before you dive all the way in, just check out their free course on their website. And if for some reason the course is not for you, there's a 14-day money-back guarantee. And be sure to save yourself $50 by using the link in the description. Back to the video. Okay, make sure you are growing in your business acumen. Whatever product or service you represent, whatever company you work for, business acumen is critical because chances are, if you're going into tech sales, if you're in tech sales, you're doing B2B, business to business sales. So as you're talking to, business owners or people on the C-suite level, whatever level the individual that you're talking on, I do believe that just having a level of understanding of your industry will help you in conversation. So I'm gonna give you an example, right? So the products that I sell accounting software. I sell payroll software. I sell bookkeeping services. Now, am I an accountant? No. But one thing that I started doing this month actually is I started actually going through an accounting course. And I've been going through that course over the weekend, throughout the week, just learning accounting. Now, I'm not the accountant. But that type of business acumen, it helps me when I'm listening to a prospect. And even if it sounds like they really understand accounting, because that business acumen is forming for me, I can listen to them and I can pick up on certain things. Like in my head, I'm like, man, you really don't know what you're talking about. And I can, in a way, use that and kind of address that, which will in return show them the value in that they really need the product that I have to offer. So having an evolving business acumen is very critical while in tech sales. The sixth thing is routine consistency. That is very, very, very important for me. And so I'll give you a practical example. When I wake up in the morning, which is typically pretty early, right? We have three children. I bring our children to school in the morning. So my wife and I, we get them ready together. And when I get back from bringing them to school, typically I take time just reading and not work related, but the Bible. I do that, right? So I'm reading, I'm pondering, I'm meditating, I'm just getting myself together. And then from there, I typically will fire up my laptop at some point in that process of while I'm reading. I fire it up early to get everything, running smoothly. And then by the time I get to work, I typically go through my same process, right? I will clean my pipeline out. I make sure that any prospects that I've kind of passed the closing date on, I go in and look to bring that up to date. And then I go over my call flow, right? I read through my call flow in the morning before I ever pick up, and dial for the first client. And then from there, as I'm going throughout that morning process, I start executing my to-do list over time. And then I begin to start simultaneously checking my emails at that point after I've actually got into my meetings. So my routine is pretty much the same every single morning. And that helps me. It helps me do what I believe is most important in the beginning so that I'm not scrambling, trying to figure out how to clear my pipeline later. And it just essentially helps me to have a smooth day. Number 7, arrive early. Okay. This is a habit that I just like to be in. And look, I don't always arrive like super early. Sometimes me arriving to work early is 10 minutes, 15 minutes, 20 minutes. I would like to ideally be to work 30 minutes early, but I'm just there, right? I'm there. I'm processing things. I'm allowing my mind to just kind of move from whatever is happening in my life and in the day yesterday, move over from that to now being able to transition into being prepared mentally for my job. So I do believe that arriving early is very critical to being able to really dominate and crush quotas in tech sales. And number 8, listen, have a professional approach. So what do I mean by that? Listen, if you want to be really good, if you want to be able to be a quota crushing machine in tech sales, right? You have to view yourself as a professional. You see, when I think of careers like being an attorney or being a doctor, and I think about how long these individuals are in school for, how long they're in training for, why is it that I would ever think that I can enter into tech sales and just get a little bit of training, forget about me preparing myself outside of work, and just go throughout my weeks and months as usual? How can I really expect to perfect my craft? You see, selling is an art, right? That there is more to this profession than me just kind of guessing and winging it through. So I like to treat myself as a professional. I like to further myself in educating myself, whether that is, going through some type of course, whether that is just, watching videos, whatever it may be. I am open to educating myself and improving my craft to constantly get better and better and better. And ultimately, my objective is typically to get to a place where I am not just competing with people, but I am dominating. Okay. I actually heard that from a speech that I listened to from Grant Cardone about a year ago, where he was talking about, the objective should not be to compete, it should be to dominate. And ultimately, that's my objective. Number 9, avoid easy. So, what do I mean by that? As a part of my job, our manager gets on like side by sides with us, and and really actually listens to live calls while we're on the phone going through consultations. And at times, she'll say, Justin, what are you comfortable with? Like, do you prefer for me to communicate with you this way or that way? And I'm like, look, manager, do not just take my comfort level and what I'm saying out of my emotion because I'm really uncomfortable with you being there. I need you to do what you feel is best as a manager, even if that's hard for me. Because at the end of the day, what is difficult is typically the thing that we need to do and we avoid, right? Even when it comes to certain disciplines. So don't look for the easy route. And this is something that I personally apply to my life. So if it's hard, if it's frustrating, if sometimes mentally it like hurts for me to go through, if it, while I'm trying to get to that next level of learning and processing things, typically I will look to err on the side of doing what is difficult as opposed to doing what is easy, because I feel like on the other side of that outcome I will be substantially better, which will be another thing that can set me apart a little more from my competition and allow for me to become a quota crushing machine. And the 10th and final thing is, don't waste minutes. Okay. So you're in tech sales, you're planning on entering into tech sales, whether you are a BDR, SDR, AE. For me, I look to just close that gap of time, right? And what do I mean by that? We have appointments every 30 minutes, right? I can have a cancellation, and obviously I'm going through pipeline, I'm seeing who to call. But let's say if I end the call early, I might end the call early sometimes and have 8 minutes left before my next call. You know what? I'm going to go through my pipeline at times. I'm going to look for the jewels. I'm going to look for an opportunity that I can have in 7 minutes, in 6 minutes, or even if that means sometimes I have 2 minutes left before a meeting, I may still call someone just to see if I can get them on the schedule at a later time in the day. So in case I close the next sale that I'm about to have in 2 minutes, then I can still have something else on the books. And that is another sale from an opportunity that I created just from utilizing 2 minutes of my time. And then there are other occasions where I will pick up and I will read sometimes. If I have certain 20-minute, 15-minute windows that I'm trying to figure out, well, what is it that I should do? I've already eaten lunch. Well, I'll just pick up a book and I will start reading and educating myself, or studying and watching some type of video that will help my craft moving forward. Well, listen, I hope this video was helpful to you. If you have not done so, consider subscribing. Join us on this journey and feel free, reach out to us on LinkedIn or rather dropping a comment in the video. And if there is a way that we can help or provide additional insight, then we will. Well, until that next video, get out there and crush that quota.